And finally, from coffee counters to cockpit cabins, employees are now doing more than just their day job. They're in fact stepping in front of the camera. Big companies like Starbucks, Delta Airlines, and others are now hiring social media influencers as employees, hence turning staff members into official social media influencers of the brands. The companies are letting them share behind-the-scenes glimpses of their workplaces. And for the employees, it's a chance to showcase their creativity, gain recognition, and even enjoy the perks like work trips and professional development opportunities. In our final story, we take you behind the scenes where influencers are shaping and building corporate brands.
Social media is changing the way people work, and some companies are embracing it. From coffee shops to airlines, employers are now encouraging employees to become content creators for their brands, showcasing their workplaces online and giving audiences a behind-the-scenes look. Starbucks, along with companies like Delta Airlines, Ulta Beauty and Hugo Boss, is also recruiting social media influencers as employees. These employees are not social media stars, as some of them have less than 1,000 followers, but they love creating content. The goal is simple. Let workers highlight their jobs, craft content with company support, and help market the brand in a more authentic way. For employees, it's a chance to hone content creation skills, gain visibility, and earn perks such as work trips and professional development opportunities. Some even list it on their resumes.
I have grown up on social media and I love creating content. I thought this would be a great intersection of the two things.
Bridget Barron is a Starbucks barista and computer science student from Charlotte. She is part of Starbucks' Green Apron Creators Initiative, which encourages baristas to post about promotions and events. Creators are paid per post, but the company keeps the amounts private. And these employees have to get approvals before they post. Other companies are following similar paths. Chicago-based restaurant chain Portillo's picked 15 staffers for its Maxwell Street Mavens program, inviting employees to create content around menu items and national food holidays. Some employees admitted that they aren't usually comfortable on camera, but participating gave them a chance to grow personally and professionally. Even airlines are getting in on the trend. Delta Airlines handpicked 15 frontline employees, from pilots to customer service agents, for a pilot influencer program. They received training on turning workplace experiences into polished social media videos that can reach thousands online. Among them is Pamela Kuchera, a 64-year-old flight attendant who gained thousands of followers posting travel tips on TikTok and Instagram. Now an official Delta influencer, she spends around 5 hours a week producing videos that highlight life at the airline. The strategy is proving popular for both sides. Companies get authentic marketing content and employees gain experience and visibility in the digital world. As social media continues to blur the lines between work and personal branding, it seems the next wave of influencers may be brewing right at the office. Or maybe behind the coffee bar.
You know, a career in the tech industry used to be a pretty safe bet, but university grads like AJ Keskikort are having trouble finding a job.
I am feeling like an outcast when I open the job postings and everything. It stresses me out.
Stresses me out indeed. In the year after she graduated, AJ applied to dozens of entry-level tech jobs in Vancouver.
I learned a lot about computer engineering, the software part of it, the hardware part of it. But right now the AI is taking over most of the stuff. Like most of the junior positions are taken and most of the intermediate positions are being taken by the people who are laid off. So for like the people like me who are recently graduated and who doesn't have too much experience are trying to figure out how to get into the industry.
AJ's experience is part of a global shift in the tech sector. In the past few months, companies like Amazon, Meta, and Apple announced tens of thousands of job cuts. In November, IBM said it was laying off 3,000 employees as it shifts its focus to businesses in artificial intelligence. AI is starting to impact the labor market as well, and this at a time when there is a lot of uncertainty in the economy, and young people are struggling to find their footing in new careers. Bibi Souza is a software engineer with a decade of experience in that industry. She also heads the BC chapter of Women in Tech. It's a global nonprofit that promotes gender diversity in the tech industry. She is in Vancouver. Bibi, good morning.
Good morning.
Does that, what you just heard from AJ, sound familiar? Saying that you know, feeling like an outcast in the job market right now?
Absolutely. You know, when I moved to Vancouver 10 years ago, it wasn't like that at all. The employer market was just very, very different. You could get a position as a junior even with no experience, no internship experience. And nowadays with AI, like AJ mentioned, it's very difficult. Even if you do have experience, of course, I have a lot of experience under my belt, and so I don't struggle as much. But when I talk to people like AJ and other people that are just graduating from university, that come to my events and they share their struggles, I do feel for them because I know the market is awful out there. It's so difficult. If you don't have experience, it's practically impossible to land a role as a junior nowadays.
A software developer in Vancouver called it a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I definitely do. If you think about it, all of these layoffs, these people that work at big tech, they're so talented. They have all of this experience, and coming into the market, they are, of course, prioritized. And so when you put some senior engineer versus a junior engineer for a junior position, if the senior person is willing to take a pay cut like I was, that was exactly what happened to me. If the senior engineer is willing to take a pay cut, they'll take that junior role. And that's exactly what's happening out there. That's what I see from my lens.
How has artificial intelligence contributed to that?
I believe artificial intelligence is giving companies a sense of augmentation of staff, but it's not real. So what I mean by that is a software engineer that knows how to use AI properly can essentially create the output of 5 engineers. And so why would you pay 5 engineers if you could pay 1 and just teach them how to use AI? So that's essentially what I think is happening out there. It's just companies think they can replace people with just AI workflows, AI LLM models, and things of that sort.
And that's what's happening, you believe, right now. That's what's leading to the bloodbath, is that employers think, well, why would I need this person when I could have, or these people, when I could have the machine do that job instead?
Absolutely. Exactly what's happening. Because AI, if you think about it, like 2-3 years ago, it wasn't really that smart, right? However, it's made leaps, huge leaps in intelligence. And it's crazy how it's actually able to do a lot of my day-to-day. It is a bit scary. And I still remember when the company I was working for at the time was introducing AI workflows into my day-to-day. And of course, I felt a little bit of this doesn't feel right. It's literally doing my job for me. And of course, they kept pushing, and eventually I gave in, and I was like, okay, fine, let me use this. And I was just astonished, like the amount of work I could do in a day equaled to like a week's worth of work. And so I do see the value from a company perspective, but what I don't see is there's no planning around the shift. The shift is just like a cold turkey, lay people off, and they'll figure themselves out. And so that's what I see and how I feel. Yeah.
In your own experience, I mean, as you mentioned, you were working in the tech sector, and then the company that you were working with introduced AI. What did they bring AI in for?
So as software engineers, we essentially code all day. And one of the ways that they wanted us to start leveraging AI was as a code helper. So it helps you code faster. It helps find files for you. It helps you write the code itself and test it. And so it's essentially like a mini software engineer right beside you all day telling you this is the right thing for you to do. And you do it and it's right. And so it's oftentimes correct in its assumptions. Of course, it does backfire a lot of the times. And I've seen a lot of the outputs that AI gives me to be complete hallucinations. So it's not always accurate, but for a computer to help you in that sense, I find it fantastic.
Did you think it was going to take your job at the time?
Not at the time, because it wasn't that smart. Back then, it wasn't that smart. But nowadays, I feel a bit, not useless, but I feel like I don't matter as a person, because my ideas that I bring to the table, usually AI will bring better ideas to the table. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I'm also learning, but at the same time, it does make me feel like the shift is happening way too fast. I can't really keep up with all of the changes every week, every day. So.
And in not keeping up, I mean, you eventually did lose your job, right?
I did.
Twice.
Absolutely. Yes. And so those were different occurrences, but I want to talk about the one where I know it was a technical, like a matter of a technical issue, if that makes sense. But like I mentioned, they were starting to introduce AI into our workflows. And of course, we had plenty of engineers. We had about 10. So if 10 engineers leveraging AI can output essentially the work of 30 engineers, you can start kind of cutting the bottom line down, right? If you think in terms of revenue. And that's kind of what happened. It's, you have 10 engineers making a lot of money because all of these years, software engineers are known to have really good salaries in big tech, right? And so you start having to cut down the bottom line and then replace that with AI. So your output is the same, but now your team spends a lot less cash. So from a company perspective, it did make sense, but it was very sudden when it happened to me. It was very sudden. I wasn't expecting it at all. I was just coming into work that morning, and I was just called into a room before anybody got into the office. And so it felt very cold, There was no transition or let's reskill you or let's see if you can maybe fit into a different department or a different team. There was nothing like that offered at all. Not even a let's work on your performance, because I don't think it was a performance issue. It was really just a matter of the numbers. And when it's a matter of numbers, it's really cold how they just let you go like that, right?
And you believe that you lost your job specifically, just to be clear, specifically because of AI being introduced to that work?
I believe so. Yeah. Yes, I believe so. That is my opinion.
And so where did you end up? What are you doing now?
So I was able to very quickly pivot due to my network. So because I do a lot of work in the community, I get to meet amazing people, and I've been able to thankfully network and just know amazing companies out there and have really good contacts. And so I've always been able to land on my feet because I have a really strong network behind me. And when I'm talking to juniors as well, this is always my advice to them is network, go to events, meet people, keep in touch with them, take them out for a coffee, because that's how I really got my break into tech, and also how I've been able to stay in tech after being laid off, is just leveraging the opportunities that are out there. Because, you don't always get all the roles posted on LinkedIn, right? Or any job boards. Some opportunities, they are just internal. And so if you know the right people, you get a referral. And so I always tell everyone, network. Leverage your network. And so that's how I've been able to stay afloat and still be in tech. But I will say this, I am planning to pivot out of software engineering because I just know that my job as a software engineer is completely obsolete 5 years from now.
Well, you're working for an AI company now, right?
I used to.
Oh, okay.
I used to. Yeah, I don't know if I can say this, but I just decided to leave, and I'm actually pivoting into a different side of tech. It's a more human side of technology, because that's what I believe in. I think tech needs a bit of a human side, right. And I want to leverage my human skills and all of that that I have to bring value to people that need it.
But what do you think the job market, I mean, you've kind of hinted at this, for people who are in the tech field, people who are software engineers, for example, what is that going to look like in 5 years? Will those jobs exist, do you think?
Juniors, definitely not. Junior roles, I just know, and even nowadays, if I go to a job board, there's barely anything. There's barely anything. If there are junior roles or internships, they're usually internal roles, or they're, people are just applying as references. They don't get advertised. And so I just know 5 years from now, junior roles will not exist. And I feel very strongly about that. The intermediate role, that's going to become the new junior role. So you're going to have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to break into tech in the future. It's just going to be expected a lot more. And now with AI, of course, it enables us to learn a lot quicker. And I've seen people that are actually juniors just break into the intermediate level just by learning with AI. And it's crazy. I appreciate that. I do think that side of AI is positive. So it does enable us to learn a lot faster. But moving forward, there will be no junior roles. It's either senior or intermediate. The intermediate will be the new junior role.
So just finally, what does that mean then for people who went into school thinking that these jobs would be, as I said at the beginning, a safe bet? They're now coming out into a very different world a few years later. What happens with them?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I do think if you're coming out of school and you did software engineering or anything related to tech, your best bet is to learn how to use AI, learn how to leverage it, learn how to insert that into your day-to-day.
Even if it might take your job down the road.
Absolutely. 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 Because the people that stay, and this is exactly what happened to me, the people that stay are the ones that know how to 10x themselves using AI, because then you're unstoppable. And so I feel like for people coming out of school, learn how to use AI, learn how to build AI if you can. That would be my recommendation, is to learn AI and learn how to build AI tools.
Bibi, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Bibi Souza is a software engineer in Vancouver and the head of the BC chapter of Women in Tech. We mentioned those schools. Universities are closely watching the changes in the tech job market. Shabnam Ivkovic is Director for Industry Relations at the University of Waterloo.
We are a tech institution, very strong tech focus. So there's a deep understanding that preparing this generation for the world of work for tomorrow happens today. I know we do our best to help students realize that there's a shift happening and they need to walk along with it. We are still persevering. We're getting the students into spots where they need to be.
She's responsible for the school's co-op program, which places something like 25,000 students a year in work-term employment.
AI has made it a little more complex. I myself know recent grads who still haven't landed a job. You need to apply to far more opportunities today than you would have in the past to land that job. The fight is harder. The fight is more aggressive.
Job recruiters are also seeing a shift as companies adopt AI, especially in the availability of entry-level positions. Sandra Lavoie is the Metro Market Manager for Robert Half. It's a global recruitment agency. She's in charge of operations for Ottawa and Quebec, and she is in Ottawa this morning. Sandra, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We heard words like bloodbath being applied to the job market in the tech sector in Vancouver. How would you describe how challenging that market is right now compared to, say, a handful of years ago?
It's a lot more challenging, and the market is also very volatile because of the economic uncertainty happening in, most of our markets. And new grads are really challenged by how to get into the market and what do they need to do is very different today than what it looked like even 6 months or a year ago.
How has artificial intelligence contributed to that?
Employers don't rely as much on AI because of the challenges on interviewing. As an example, a lot of our candidates are using AI so much to present themselves that they really don't show the true authentic person. Or it's a mirror of another 50 resumes that the employer just got, and they can't see the true person through the resume. And that's been a huge challenge because the resume does not fit the skill set when they meet the person. So it has been huge for us.
I want to come back to that in a moment. Are you seeing, the great fear about artificial intelligence is that it's going to take our jobs. Are you seeing that happen already?
Some of it, but other skills are needed. So what we're seeing a lot of is companies today are so lean, Matt, that they need the existing employees to upskill or retrain. And at times there's been maybe early retirement, there's been change in skills, they need to hire. And a lot of the projects that should have been done 3 and 5 years ago have now come to a head where they need to hire. So there is some hiring happening, but very specific skills and expertise needed.
But Bibi was suggesting that entry-level positions are disappearing. You have the CEO of Shopify telling people who work for his company, saying, you need to prove that AI can't do this job before you hire a human being. Are there examples from the companies you work with where they have said, we don't need to hire 10 people. We'll hire one person and AI will cover the rest?
We have seen some of it, especially in the larger organization where it's high transaction based, where AI can help out. But the human aspect and the creativity and that authentic type of person is still needed. But yes, have we seen roles gone? For sure we have. But different skill sets are needed also, Matt.
It's interesting because it's not just the tech sector. There was a survey of middle market companies that showed that something like 91% have adopted generative AI somehow in some way within their company. That suggests that there are many different fields, not just tech, that are affected to some degree. From your perspective, how have you seen AI impacting jobs beyond that tech sector?
Well, I would say if you look at finance and accounting, some of the commodity work or the entry-level positions have been just abolished in some cases or really significantly reduced. I was talking to a large public company, and they've reduced 40% of their transactional-based employees, which has been replaced by AI. That's a lot, but different skills, data analytics are needed now. So there's a lot of different skills that are needed, even though that transactional-based position has been abolished.
What happens if the entry-level positions are eliminated, and then you need to figure out who's going to fill those middle-level or senior positions? How can you train somebody up if they haven't had an entry-level opportunity?
The way we look for a position now, Matt, has changed. We cannot just rely on going on LinkedIn, like Bibi was saying earlier, or just send a bunch of resumes. You really need to network, use your alumni, go to local, networking events, I say Chamber of Commerce or whatever your market is holding, and get to know people, get to know hiring managers, get yourself out there so they see that true, authentic person and make a statement of who you are and what you can offer an organization. Instead of using technology to get into a company and only using that tool will not get you there, and you cannot differentiate yourself.
You've used that phrase a few times, the true, authentic person. What does that mean?
People in companies need that team-based approach, that collaboration, that external focus to deal with clients. You cannot do it behind a computer and not being able to interact at a high level with other employees, other clients, and that is really needed. The days where you could just sit behind your computer and not be part of the business to drive your business's success has changed, and they need to see somebody who is really involved and collaborate with the balance of the organization, and not just your team, but other teams within the company.
Because it's interesting, artificial intelligence is being used by many companies to sift through those, resumes that might come in, the thousands and thousands of resumes. But you're suggesting that it's also being used by people as they do the interviews, if they get an interview. Tell me more about that and what is lost if people are, as you said, just kind of behind the screen and the employer doesn't get a sense as to who they really are.
So what we've seen is, and I've seen it myself, is that you're interviewing somebody on Zoom or Teams or whatever tool you're using, and there's multiple screens. So they'll have 2 screens to help answer the questions. Or they have AI helping answer the questions, and you'll see the pause. So a lot of our clients at Robert Half are now saying, we want the interviews face-to-face, where even 2 years ago, Matt, we were not seeing any of that. So now our clients are like, we want to see the true person. We want to meet them face-to-face to see what human skills will they bring to our organization and how will they fit in our culture. The technical skills that we can evaluate. So that's a real big shift in interviewing.
What does that mean for people who are applying? I mean, we hear stories of people who send thousands and thousands of applications in, and they get no replies. How do you land a job in 2025? Getting to the interview is one thing, but how do you actually get through the door in the first place?
First of all, you got to network. You've got to meet hiring managers at different networking events, number one. Number two, go to a talent solution or a staffing firm. Take a contract. Get yourself in the door, even if it's a 3-month contract or 2-month contract, to show what you can offer an organization, to also show that you have some type of experience. Also, a lot of areas that we're seeing is user groups. Attend user groups. This will allow you better networking. We cannot just network online. We really need to network face-to-face.
And you can't just send in applications?
You're not going to differentiate yourself, Matt, because one of the biggest challenges we're seeing is that AI is so used to develop resumes, they all look the same. We could get 100 resumes, 80 will look identical, that they're mirroring the job description.
Just finally, do you understand that the anxiety that a lot of grads feel, they feel like, I mean, somebody said that they feel like an outcast earlier in the program. They feel like the market is not receptive to them and that those jobs just simply don't exist. Do you understand the anxiety that a lot of them feel?
Absolutely. But there's also another anxiety that the new grads have skills that the more tenured or more mature employees, where they're worried they're going to lose their job because they feel overwhelmed by AI and also getting upskilled or getting training to get their skills up to keep their job. So there's two ways to look at it. You've got the new grads are so great in technology, and then you've got employees that are working at a company that can't handle the AI and are just overwhelmed by it. Almost 50% of employees today that are in companies have anxiety and are concerns about will they retain their job because their skills are not up to date. So you got both sides.
Yeah, well, it suggests the job market in years ahead is not going to look at all like it did in the past.
100% agree with you.
Sandra, thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Matt.
Sandra Lavoie is a Metro Market Manager with Robert Half. It's a global recruitment agency, and she was in Ottawa.
Canada. We should move to Canada.
That night, she was talking with her friend, and the friend said that she had an interview. And my mother said, well, how can that be? I was told that the job was filled. And her friend said, well, that's not possible. I have an interview.
60 years ago, a black nurse in Montreal made history by winning a landmark racial discrimination case. Gloria Bayliss proved she had been denied a nursing job because she was black. The Queen Elizabeth Hotel, then operated by Hilton, is the very place where Gloria decided to take a stand. Her daughter, Françoise, shares her mother's story.
At that point, she realized something was amiss, and that's the point at which she ends up getting in touch with folks at the Negro Citizenship Association, and a decision is made that they're going to use this as a test case to go forward.
Françoise was 3 years old when the case began in 1965, but it's only at the age of 16 that she learned her mother had been fighting this battle in silence.
My mother was a person who just wanted to get things done. If she saw something that was important to her, if it was a project she wanted to accomplish, she figured out what she needed to do, and she took those steps.
And it was just incredible how around me and my fellow law school students at the time would call it the badass woman. And then I did not really make too much of it until later on in life, when I started to dig in a little bit deeper to find out, you know, the force of nature of this woman was just an incredible story.
On October 4, 1965, the court found that Hilton of Canada had violated the Act respecting discrimination in employment. For 11 years, Hilton of Canada appealed the ruling. On January 19, 1977, the Court of Appeal of Quebec upheld the initial conviction, a fine of $25 and related costs. This case is significant because it is the first time in Canadian history that an institution had been found guilty of racial discrimination in employment.
Highlighting this event today, it's an opportunity for us to really remind us that the gains that we make aren't forever. And I think Gloria Bayliss really serves as an inspiration to us all to say we need to stand up for what's right, and we need to do it without ever backing down.
I mean, if you look at all the facets of life, you know, I think she's a very accomplished woman, and that's what we need. We need more accomplished women, and I'm underlining women here. I think that's what's really important, right? Women can succeed. Black women can succeed. Young women can succeed. Older women can succeed. That's what my mom represents to me, success. She's a serial pioneer.
There will be an exhibit to honor Gloria in Montreal at Le Centre Sanac called Triumph, the story of Gloria Clark Bayliss, held from January 29th to March 8th. In Montreal, Joanie Bouffard, City News.
It's okay. See, the code doesn't say nothing against somebody going into business. That's, you know, going into business is just going into business. That's all. If you can find a business to go into where you can make some money. I mean, you know, there are some black people who are in business.
Civil rights leaders in Kansas City are escalating their fight tonight, taking new legal action over what they call unfair business practices in Westport. The Urban Council now back in a federal lawsuit against the Westport Community Improvement District. Tonight, KMBC 9's Darissa White is live in Westport following the story for us.
Well, this is a $70 million lawsuit against Westport's Community Improvement District. They say that it all began when a black business owner tried to lease the space behind me but was denied, and he's claiming it's due to racial discrimination. Now, the 60-page lawsuit was filed by Euphoria LLC, Unique LLC, and Source LLC, all which say they tried to lease buildings in Westport but were denied the opportunity. The suit claims a neighboring business owner asked where people would enter the business, what type of music would be played, specifically R&B or hip-hop, and what kind of crowd it would attract. Today, civil rights leaders gathered in front of Holy Brunch, the building that was attempted to be leased. Now, the black business owner who attempted to lease the building is coming forward to say he has proof that Westport CID was using secret agreements and discriminatory gatekeeping.
I'm frustrated. I'm stressed out. It's impacted my business. I have a business that I run. It's impacted my business. This lawsuit takes up all my day. So it's extremely stressful.
Now, I did speak with a representative from Westport who say there's many factors that go into leasing a building in Westport, which include the Good Neighbor Agreement. And we'll have more on that coming up at 6 p.m. Reporting live in Westport, Darissa White, KMBC 9 News.
The Westport Community Improvement District refutes the allegations, saying its board members do not manage leases or select tenants. Those decisions remained with individual property owners.
Wow. So they got the good neighbor policy. I know, like, forever. I wouldn't care if I hit, like, the lottery and was a trillionaire. I couldn't pay one person to come out and say, you know what? Brother Gus T, you're sure enough a good neighbor. Please. The worthless Negro. That was in the report that white woman in Germany wrote. I said that with emphasis the other day. The white woman in Germany, she came to the U.S. to study sundown towns in Indiana, racially restricted regions. And that was in one of the reports about the Negro. They said, we got these old worthless Negroes trying to come into Indiana. Come on. The worthless Negro. Not from Indiana. Gus T. Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the global system of white supremacy. Today's date, Thursday, December 11, 2025. So I have been told, our weekly forum on neutralizing workplace racism. not for spectators, particularly if you have figured out, hey, this is what to say so you don't have to go to them dangerous, lame Christmas parties or holiday parties, whatever it is. You still get your bonus. You still get your raise. Nobody says anything snarky to you. You don't have people giving you a side eye for the next year. Be like nothing ever happened. And you don't have to waste no time. At the holiday get-together, be on speed dial. You figured out, hey, this is what to do to get your raise. This is what to do to get your end-of-year bonus. Let us know. All of that is better than something beautiful in the stocking this time of year. Goodies for the workplace or any other tips. Tips to help us get through the interview. Tips to help us get an interview. Anything that would be beneficial to non-white people, and you figured out a few codified suggestions, let us know. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Certainly if you have difficulties in the workplace, if they are hounding you about going to the office holiday party and you are reluctant to attend, let us know. Folks might have a suggestion or two how to safely avoid the danger. Some of the audio segments that we heard at the beginning, they said prominent companies, Delta, Starbucks, right here in Seattle, that they are hiring so-called influencers, people who, have prominent TikTok or YouTube or podcasts, whatever it is. They are hiring them to then include their work experience at Starbucks or Delta or whatever it is as a part of their stream or whatever they talk about on their TikTok and all that, and showing, they said, insider secrets, what it's like to work at Starbucks. Ooh, the training part, like, wow. I don't know. What is that? Does that say, we should all get social media and strive to be influencers? Like, I don't know. They're talking about getting AI on the one hand and then getting influencers on the other. I'd be curious to see how many non-white so-called influencers are getting these jobs, and particularly because they said they don't share if it's, something like, well, we want you to post so much about this on TikTok or whatever your platform is. They said they didn't disclose how much they pay per post. I'd be curious as to how many non-white influencers get these types of jobs, and then do they get paid the same amount? I'm sure, they might be able to justify, well, this person, they have more followers or more engagement or whatever it is. Is that true? Even if it's a non-white person and they have lots of followers, lots of engagement, all that good stuff? It would be difficult to find out because they don't disclose that info. Next, we heard a lengthy report talking about the influence of AI in the tech industry. Now, that was CBC, so we're talking about Canada. They were saying it was having a massive impact already, particularly for people who are seeking entry-level jobs in the tech industry. Now, I've heard lots of folks saying that some of the AI performance has been less than stellar, and that they've got these bots and the AI doing these jobs, and they are not quite doing all that was promised, and in some cases they're even having to go back and get people to do some of this work correctly. I've heard some of that too. But at the minimum, it seems that you're having more and more companies, businesses, maybe even trying to get by on the cheap. They say, hey, we can get some of these bots or whatever. They could do some of this work. That's a lot we can cut out in terms of salary. Let's do that. And if it's messed up, we can hire people back, and we can hire them back on the cheap too. That sort of thing. But man, it sounded a bit dire. Now, again, this is Canada, so not, people listening in different parts of the world or what have you. But they said, man, just within the last 6 months to a year, things have changed in terms of just trying to get a job. They're talking tech industry, but just in that short period of time, things have changed quite a bit. Even talking to some of the folks, now this is audio. I would love to get pictures of some of these folks. I said that for many of the reports that we heard today, but the audio report where they were talking to the young lady and she was saying that they were trying to get her to code, and she was, I guess, somewhat resistant to it, and then she started using it, and wow, she said, I could do like a week's worth of work in one day. Like, wow, it's so amazing. And she said when she first started using it, the AI was kind of stupid, it couldn't do too much. That isn't the case now. She said it's learned a lot, and like, wow, I could be replaced. And they said she has lost her job twice. Wow. That would be something to consider if you're looking to go into some of these fields, especially as it continued. Like, wow, even being able to get a job in some of these fields. They said that they're using this technology to look at the resumes, and in the hiring process, we'd heard that before. I'd even said, have we talked to anyone, or does anyone listen to the cows where you've been interviewed? AI, they're asking the questions and all of that. How did that work out? Did you get the job? What was that process like? Haven't heard anyone say, yes, Brother Gus, interviewed by AI. This is what it was like. But probably going to be more of that. They said with the tech industry specifically, they're using the tech is being used in the weeding out process, going through the resumes and all. But then they said also people that are trying to get hired, they're using all of this technology to construct their resumes. So now it looks like the AI did everybody's resumes. They all look the same. It's really difficult to, distinguish one client from the other. They even said during some of the interviews, if they're doing it via video, Teams, whatever it is, and they said that the people have two screens up, so you ask a potential candidate questions, and then they're looking at the AI to get the proper response to the question. Wow. I would feel nervous. I don't know. I don't have enough black male privilege. I feel like even if I had AI, they would be tracking my eyeballs. So what is that Negro? Where is he looking at? Is he looking? Oh, and he taking all that time. I bet he got, oh, you cheating, sliding. See, I felt like they would get me. I would be penalized. I would definitely not get the job, and they'd shake their finger in my face at me as they, even if it was AI, would shake its finger in my face and let Count Coon, you're not, told me about you. Next. Like, dang, the AI done told me off and everything. Like, man, he didn't. That's what I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, but wow, they'd sit rampant. Not that I'm surprised. They'd been saying, the same sort of thing for the standardized tests and exams and all that in school. So why would I think it would be any different? This is basically the same thing. Why would I think it would be any different for an interview? Anyway, they did say because of this, some potential employers are requesting, let's go back and do it the dinosaur way and get these people in person so we can really see them. Give us your authentic self. We'll get a live time response that we can evaluate, all the rest of it. Let's go back to doing it that way. Might be prepared. That's all of that just seemed like, why even the fact that within 6 months, whole field can change. That's why I said, like, some of these, you have to be robustly still learning. Let's see. Sandra Lavoie, who participates in hiring, who was talking about all the changes in this and how AI is impacting all of this from many perspectives. She said, hey, since they're not hiring and it's so difficult to get a job, they kept using that metaphor of a bloodbath for young people trying to get entry-level positions in the tech industry. And they said, hey, go network, use these user groups where you can meet people, you can be in contact with people, and network, meet people, talk, all of that. That is great. But the network is the system of white supremacy. So, I don't know. I saw some of the black people at Google. They had a lawsuit about racism this week. I suspect that it's not going to be non-white people who are new to the tech field. May have been some of the folks that we heard who've been fired on CBC. I suspect that they're not going to have the same networking opportunities. Dare I say, probably not even the same networking success as an individual classified as white, even if that white person is incompetent, not as skilled socially, technically, whatever it is. I suspect just being white will go a long way. They'll have a lot more success networking, and even they'll know more about those user groups and networks. And hey, go here, talk to this person, all that, who might be their aunt, cousin, uncle, whatever, that they're going to talk to get help and get on and all that, as opposed to non-white people. Not saying don't do it, but just, man, I suspect it's going to be even more difficult if you are not white in that process, and hoping that you can. I mean, that's been the whole story of Silicon Valley. Unless I've been misinformed, we don't hire niggers. Elon Musk, space station, and I mean literally, like Tesla, Space Station X, specifically, all those lawsuits about how they mistreat non-white people and discrimination and racist jokes, all the rest of it. Anyway, we stayed in Canada. We hop out of the tech industry. We do not hop away from the racism. Gloria Bayless, black female, now she is going to apply for a job in nursing. Now they've been talking all this about how we got nursing shortages. Maybe they don't have that sort of thing in Canada. I don't know. I'm close enough to the Canadian border that I should know. But anyway, she's going to apply for a job. And they say, oh, no, that position's been filled. And then she said that her friend, who we'll assume is white, said, oh, hey, Sandra, Gloria, I got job interview, nursing position, wish me luck, girl. She said, what? Is that the same? Oh, no, that can't be, because I was going to go down. They told me it was well, I got an interview. I don't know what they told you, Gloria. And then she went and filed a lawsuit, and they said this is like the first big case in Canada, and they said, she was standing up to racism, white supremacy as a black female. Bravo, whoopee for her, specific mistreatment because she is black. And I mean, there's something, I don't even know that it's beyond trifling and all the rest of it. Just, I mean, healthcare, you got people suffering and children that are sick. We just went through COVID-19. It might be because I'm Rona influenced, but I mean, Dad, you got someone who is qualified. They didn't go to one of them, diploma mills, and we don't have Michael Swango or Michelle Swango on our hands trying to poison people. She's going out and trying to do the correct thing, and oh no, we don't. Get out of here, nigger woman. Like what? Anyway, Miss Bayless, her daughter, they're recognizing, the anniversary of her, I think that's an anniversary, her standing up to racism, counter racism in the workplace. Bravo. They had her daughter speaking about her mom's accomplishment, Francois Bayless, talking about her mom's accomplishment. She said that this is a story about women, young women. You hear she put that bass in her voice, made sure she was nice and loud. Now, this is another one. I said there's lots of these reports. I need pictures. Let me see what these folks look like. Unless I've been misinformed. Gloria Bayless Cowbell married a white man. This is in Canada, but whatever. And so her daughter, when I saw her, I thought she was a white woman. Now, technically, she would be like Obese, non-white parent, one white parent. But I thought it was a white person, and that does happen sometimes. Be curious to ask her, what's your racial classification? That notwithstanding, in fact, let me pause right quick. Richard Bayless, 93, was courageous and quiet. Let me see. Make sure I get... Okay, unless I've got the incorrect information. Richard Bayless, this is from his obituary. He passed not too long ago. Richard Bayless was a courageous man in a quiet, gentle way. He moved to Canada from the United Kingdom in the early 1950s and married Gloria Leon Clark. Thus she becomes Gloria Bayless, a black woman. His mother did not approve. He defied her. Hey, not all white peoples is racist. Together they have 5 children. Pia Maria Francois, who we heard, Frank, Peter, and Penny. Their firstborn, Pia Marie, died at 1 month of age, and Gloria experienced a major depression. Richard was her rock. As a mixed-race couple, I believe that phrase is in the Word Guide. Speaking of tacky, but I think it's in the Word Guide under Do Not Use. Richard and Gloria were subject to cruel taunts and discrimination. He was never cowed. His beloved wife died in 2017 after more than 10 years with Alzheimer's disease. They go on to give more, but Cowbell, as I said, you can see his daughter Francois for yourself and see if you think she might be accepted as white. Maybe it depends on the picture and the lighting and all that stuff too, but either way, she said, this is about women, young women. Victims Guaranteed qualified, and more importantly, she is certainly overqualified to speak on her mother's experience. All of that said, unless we were misinformed, what we heard about Gloria Bayless, she did not get passed over for that nursing job because she was a woman. She did not get lied to and passed over for that nursing job because she was a young woman. And in fact, I didn't hear any information about young women or women period in Canada having any difficulty getting nursing jobs. What I heard was black females having difficulty getting nursing jobs, and Miss Bayless specifically didn't get this job and was lied to about it because she is classified as black. And that is so common to pussyfoot and move away from that, and particularly to get that old tacky lame angle. Oh, this is about females and all us women and our sisters. And no. And that's why I said, man, phenotypically that sounds exactly like what I would expect from some racist white chick, which might be what I was listening to. I don't know. I'd have to see what Francois' classification is. She does have a white parent. Could just be super white identification. But either way, Victims Guaranteed qualified. In my view, she is super inaccurate. And really, that does a disservice to what they are honoring with her mother's legacy. Her mother's legacy is not about women being mistreated. It is about racism, white supremacy. She was mistreated because she's not white, because she's classified as black. That's what we're talking about. Why bury the lead? Even in Canada, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Last report, Kansas, they were talking black business trying to get their business, couldn't get this property, and they think it's racism. Man, you heard privileged black male, and he said, oh my goodness, this takes up all my time going to court, gotta go get paperwork, testify about all this? Whew. In the area of labor, so much of the racism is about wasting the time and energy of non-white people. That report, specifically, if you are an entrepreneur, I've said all the time, it does not mean you escape racism. It just will change how you experience the racism. I've heard this so frequently. Black people trying to, either they already have the business or they're trying to start the business. We've had folks dial in, victim in New Jersey, trying to get his trucking business, all kinds of sabotage. I've played reports where black businesses, racists would come and deliberately litter on their property and then sometimes come and blame them for it. Sometimes racists would lie, call in false police reports, say, oh, this is, a nuisance business. They got all these crackhead Leroys. They come and berate women and rape women and smoke crack out front and, oh, it's terrible, that sort of thing, and shut it down. Or they will come and say, hey, Leroy, you can't get your business license. Or I know non-white person where this happened. They say, hey, you need whatever it is, business license, liquor license, whatever, and it's going to be $1,000. So Leroy leaves, and he comes back, and he says, okay, I'm going to get my liquor license. I got my $1,000. I said, oh, no, $1,000? Who told you that? Liquor license is $10,000. I said, oh my God, Jesus Christ. And then he fall out on the floor. I thought you just said, it'll be the same person that they talked to. He said, I thought you said it was $1,000. Oh, no, well, things changed. Like they said in the report, hey, 6 months, things changed. Yeah, it was $1,000, but that price was the end of last week. Now it's $10,000. Like, oh my God! Wait a minute. Oh, geez. Either they get security to get you out, or you try to go and see if you can get 10 times the original amount that they told you. It's lots of ways. I just go. They got Snoop Dogg and Master P. It's hard to get more blackmail privilege than that. You have to get kind of Obama. They got the lawsuit filed. Said Michael Jordan got a lawsuit filed against NASCAR right now. You could just keep going on and on. It's her now. Mike Jordan might have more blackmail privilege than Obama. Just maybe. Either way, the Snoop Dogg, Master P, they got cereal that they wanted to sell Walmart and the different stores, and they won't put it on the shelves in Walmart. They got a lawsuit right now saying, man, think they're practicing racism. We got the soup out, drop it like it's hot. They say, oh no, Just going into business it doesn't even matter. You can have all the capital in the world, so you can do it right. So what? System of white supremacy racism. And we can get back to Westport. If it's just even a location, they say location. Well, keep looking, niggas, because you ain't gonna get this spot. Now, how about that for black entrepreneurship? They got lots of ways. Have to deal with the system of white supremacy racism before we get to successful so-called black businesses. Any hoodles, before we get to the folks who dialed in, emailed the email untiljustice@gmail.com. Untiljustice@gmail.com. They had a report in the New York Times. I made an offensive joke, but so did everyone else. Why did I get fired? Oh, man. Let's see. This is from this month, too. Going over the line. I was fired recently. The excuse was that I contributed to an uncomfortable work environment. My coworker, who is Latino, that's also in the word guide. Big no. We don't know. This could be a white person who speaks Espanol. We don't know. Latino, and who I know is a legal citizen. That would make me think it's a non-white person. We immediately, it might be something alien about them. Like, okay, that's a dark person. Had left the store to go to the warehouse and returned in record time. I joked that he was so fast. Woo! Let me get it. Here we go. All right, so Latina fella left the store, went to the warehouse, returned in record time. I guess he keeps notes to see how fast. Anyway, I joked that he was so fast, it was like ICE was after him. Can't get up. To me, it was a joke. Whether in good taste or not is a different question. To him, it was a racist comment, which was certainly not the intention. Certainly not. I mean, it's a joke. I can't get up. I'm sorry. It's a joke. You would hear on late night TV any night of the week. Which late night, is that Conan, Colbert? Where would they make a joke about ICE chasing down a coworker? I need to hear that. If you can point me to where you would hear this tonight, this is a weekday. Hey, where on Thursday night can I hear some good racist jokes like that? Please let me know. I will stay up late to check it out live. Thank you. I said something that a coworker found offensive, and the boss chose to dismiss me. I can't find fault with that. I live in an at-will state, and he has the legal right to do so. As far as somebody finding my comment offensive, what constitutes offensive is in the ears of the beholder, so I can't find fault with my coworker about that either. If he was offended, then I take responsibility. My issue was that I worked in an environment where there was no check on inappropriate speech among my coworkers. I worked in a small retail store. My immediate boss made constant jokes that were racist, misogynistic, homophobic, anti-Semitic. All the jokes were made in jest, and the staff, which consisted of African Americans, women, gays, and Jews, found it all very funny and gave back as much as they got. Nothing was off limits. Nobody was bothered, and nobody reported anything to the owner. There is a handbook of what's appropriate language in the office, but it was rarely applied and never cited. The offending party also made inappropriate comments and played along until I said something he found particularly bothersome. I thought he said racist, which he immediately reported. How can I be held responsible for going over the line? That question, how can I be responsible for going over the line? I was playing by the rules or lack of rules that management created and then got penalized for doing so. Granted, management was wrong all along, but it was my head on the chopping block. What a metaphor. I know it's legal, but is it fair? That word again, I love it. Okay, the answer. My first instinct here is to wonder if your description of the status quo in your workplace is accurate. If your manager was known to crack constant racist, misogynistic, homophobic, and anti-Semitic jokes, you and your coworkers might have felt pressure to accept and even return the banter, even if they disliked it, and even if there was an acceptable level of offensive repartee. The line you describe as non-existent may have been more plainly drawn for your coworkers. Perhaps it was something like, broad stereotypes are tolerable, but specific mention of horrifying events cuts too close to the bone, especially if interpretable as a threat. Still, I can understand why you feel mistreated. You were frustrated by what legal philosophers would describe as the distinction between procedural fairness and substantive fairness. Was the procedure by which you were fired fair? As you acknowledge it was. There was a handbook with clear instructions on allowable speech. You violated those instructions and you were fired in a manner compliant with state law. But was it substantively fair? Assuming your account of the situation is accurate, no, you were singled out and punished for behavior otherwise indistinguishable from that of your coworkers, or tellingly about the distressing culture of your former workplace from that of your immediate supervisor. Unfortunately, you can't pay your rent with qualified judgments of fairness from an advice columnist. Substantive fairness from an employer is a nice dream, but in many situations, especially absent a strong union with a good contract, you're lucky to even get procedural fairness. You mentioned you live in an at-will state where, with few exceptions, employers can legally fire employees at any time for any or no reason at all. Well, that's just telling me you live in the U.S., in a U.S. state that isn't Montana. At your next job, rather than assuming your employers will treat you fairly, you should think about how you are protecting yourself from the eventuality that they will not. That is a good one, I think, for us, assuming you will be mistreated. One place I'd start is the banter. There are many obvious moral and ethical reasons not to crack racist jokes, but your situation reminds us of an important practical one as well. You can't tell ahead of time where anyone's red line is. It's a colored line now? Red line? I thought it was just the line. You don't cross that line. Is it red? Is it white? Is it fuchsia? Is it polka dot? Come on. I am open to the possibility that everyone at your former workplace enjoyed the give and take, and that the offensive humor served as a team building or morale boosting purpose. What? I reject that categorically. If the only way that we can spunk up our morale, give a little pep talk, is we got to pepper and sprinkle in a racist joke here and then. You hear what they said about the fat nigger? Come on. We got the handbook about offensive speech and proper conduct in the workplace. No, you can joke about lots of things. We don't have to be offensive. We don't have to be Eddie Murphy. We can skip the jokes. We can just, you have a nice weekend. Everybody all right? We're doing well. Looking forward to our raise. Hey, all right. Let's get back to work. Like, why do we have to tell racist jokes in order to, hey, I'm feeling better. I can be 10% more productive. I ain't heard the one about the chocolate boy. Boy, I got me a good giggle on now. Come on. Let's see. Got the red line. Morale boost. In a manner of violent motorcycle gang initiation rituals, no matter how loving or affectionate the attention, offensive repartee is effectively a game in pushing people's buttons until they explode. Tim McVeigh. Unless you are a writer on a reboot of All in the Family. Wow. Showing your age a little bit. This is a television program that's been off the air for about 60 years. Writing chauvinist one-liners is not actually part of your job. I could say that about 50 times. You are not paid to tell jokes. That's us. That's all. Fuller talked about us being the entertainment committee. You're not paid to tell jokes in the workplace. And I'm not paid to listen to somebody tell jokes. And personally, hey, we ain't got no Eddie Murphys here, so you don't even have good jokes. Back to work. Boo. And in fact, I wouldn't be laughing at boo. Now get back to work. You don't even have good jokes. Certainly, if all you got is racist jokes, those aren't good jokes. Now get back to work. And incidentally, I will also say that excuse that was given here by the racist who wrote this in, hey, everybody tell racist jokes, why I got to be fired. That is always what they say. We always joke around, we have that sort of rapport, and you make fun of me and I make fun of you, and that's why I say right there, hey, none of that. We are serious in the workplace. I did not come to do the dozens and to joke on you and where you ripped them shoes from. None of that. Because that's exactly what they will do. We joke around, man. We cool, man. I just have a little fun, man. I ain't mean nothing about that. I was just talking about the ice, man. Or if it was a black person, he says, man, you ran so fast like I had a bucket of chicken in here. Or you ran so fast like child support was outside. Child support enforcement, you ain't gonna pay for no children. And they crack up laughing, and he said, hey, that was kind of racist. I ain't no racist. We sit in here and giggle and laugh. You gonna Will Smith me? You gonna come knock me up? I ain't trying to say nothing bad about you. I love black people. No joking around, no horsing around, none of that. Even if you work with all black people, none of that. We're just to say, hey, you are not paid to write one-liners. You're not paid to come in here and give no stand-up comedy routine, man. This is not Saturday Night Live. We're at the factory. Serious. Ain't no giggling. Serious. And that way, the racist, he won't be able to use that and say, man, Leroy, we joke everything. Oh, Leroy is here. And everybody, that Leroy, that boy don't crack a smile about nothing. I tried to talk to him about Will Smith, and he looked at me like I was crazy. So, no, Leroy don't do none of that. Serious. Glad they fired. That's why I hardly ever hear a white person got fired for telling racist jokes. Like, what? That's normally a promotion. Like, do what? If anything, be serious. You should have learned your lesson. Be serious in the workplace, sitting up degrading your employees. You running like ICE was chasing you. Why is that funny? What's funny about that? Racist. Anyway, now you can go down to the unemployed, but we'll see if it's still true what Mr. Fuller said. If you're white and you're unemployed, you're not going to be unemployed very long. We'll see if it's still true. You go down to the unemployment office, maybe you're just there one day and boop. Anyway, the email untiljustice@gmail.com, the number 720-716-7300, the code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let us see. Folks who dialed in with a hand up, let's see. We'll get them first, and then we'll get folks who wrote in untiljustice@gmail.com. Let's see. Our caller 6236, Helen in New York. I think she might be in the nursing field. Are you familiar with Gloria? I know she's in Canada, so I mean, you're not supposed to know every nurse who ever lived in the world. But Gloria Bayless, black female nurse, I guess pioneer in Canada, where they didn't even want to hire her because she's black.
No, Gus, I've never heard of her. I'm going to look further into her. Thank you for the information. Peaceful greetings, Gus, callers. Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, because I was having a little trouble earlier. Peaceful greetings to Gus, callers, and future listeners. On December 1st, where I work at, white people, a.k.a. companies, always ask for a list of the workers, staff, so that they could give us a Christmas bonus, so-called Christmas bonus, a.k.a. holiday bonus. And so the staff consists of maintenance, engineer, cleaners, helpers, etc. The cleaners is two shifts, the first shift and the second shift. There's only one there's only one black person that works as a cleaner, a black male. His name is James. He does all the bathrooms, men and women bathrooms. So when they gave the list in, the engineer, white guy, engineer, and he gives in the list for the staff, he puts down Jason instead of James. He got the last name correct, but not the first name. So when said company, a.k.a. white people, gave James his holiday bonus, it had the wrong name on it. So he's confused as to what to do because he can't cash a check. It's a personal check from the company. So he's wondering, like, do I give it to the engineer so that he can give it to the company, or should he give the check back and say, hey, you know, you got my name wrong on my Christmas bonus? And I strongly, strongly suspect that white people did this on purpose. The engineer did this on purpose. How do you mix up James to Jason? So I think this was done on purpose. While listening, so I'm kind of asking for advice for him, like how should he handle that situation? Should he return the check or what? While listening to the reports that you shared about the influencers getting the job, like for advertising for different companies, I'll be curious as to how honest these influencers are going to be, because if they're being paid by the person, by the company, by white people, then they're going to obviously give a good review on said products or whatever. Just like, for example, people who go to different restaurants, influencers that go to different restaurants and talk about, oh, this food is good, this, that, and the other, because they have a large following. You know, people will go to said restaurants, spend their money, and sometimes the people are like, the food wasn't that great. This was horrible. This was dry, this, that, and the other. But because the influencer said whatever they said, it'll drum up business, for lack of better terms. So I just wonder how honest they're going to be. I wouldn't trust an influencer to tell me, you know, where I should go or where, you know, what to eat or where to go or whatever. The situation with BB in the AI tech industry, she lost her job, 2 jobs, due to AI, being replaced by AI, but yet she was still talking like, you know, she was quite positive in talking about the tech industry. And I'm like, wow, you lost your job twice. I don't know how positive I would talk about that. And she was also very careful. I don't know if y'all noticed that. She was very careful in how she was talking about the tech industry. I want to share my experience with tech. So I called the doctor's office to ask a question and also make an appointment. Why the person, well, no, not a person, AI answered the phone, introduced herself as AI, and we're having a conversation. She's answering my questions, and I'm like, this is AI. This sounds like a person. So she's answering my questions and everything, and I'm like, oh, one less secretary. You know, a secretary lost their job because, I mean, she was able to answer my questions, make the appointment, everything. And I was like, wow. I couldn't believe this wasn't a person. It was just so, I was like, wow. I was just blown away by that. Let's see, anything else? Oh, the one about with the article that you were sharing about networking and face-to-face and how they kept saying that over and over again and how they want to meet your authentic self because, you know, you could, I guess, lie or whatever. And I think the reason why they were saying meet your authentic self, I think that's all about, like, seeing you face-to-face, seeing if you're non-white and rejecting you. I think that's what that's about. Yeah, and that's all I have to report for now. Thank you for listening.
Much obliged, Helen in New York. Don't you think they could get that same, if it's to reject you as once they see you're a non-white person, they could do that on the teams, like they'd have the screen up, like, oh, we got a dark person, we not had Leroy, get on out of here. Like, wouldn't they? Is it different doing that in person, face to face? No, you're right. You have a point. Yeah, they could reject you on screen, most definitely.
I guess I was talking more about like LinkedIn or, sending in a resume. I know that's ancient time now, but sending a resume and them not seeing you. But yes, correct. They can do it on screen. They don't have to see you face to face to do that. Correct.
I see. Okay. You did ask a question though about helping the privileged black male on the job, custodial staff. He has all the privilege that he gets to clean the lavatories, which is needed. No disrespect there, but I'm just saying that's a lot of privilege. So he got his Christmas bonus, which is what I was just talking about. So we go through all this toil and 12 months. We get to the so-called holiday. He gets his Christmas bonus. Whoopee Jason. Wait a minute. I'm James. King James, like the book in the Bible. That's me. I'm James. And I'm not Jason. Man, that is the whole history of white supremacy racism, where it just can't get Leroy just can't get he could have been working there 15 years and just can't get named correct. And this is a little bit, because we've heard this from bunches of folks, victims over the years. This is a little bit beyond just I misspell your name in an email from now and then. You told me, people, this Helen in New York, and I just come in every day. Hey, Maria, good to talk to you. It's Helen. All right, my fault. Right. This is my check. Presumably the people in accounting, you got all of the accurate information with my correct name, address, social security, you got all of that. Who is Jason? What? Come on. That is just so. And what I said too, wasting time and energy. I would go right back to accounting immediately and just let them know there's been some sort of clerical error. I don't know who Jason is, but he might have missed his check. I am James, and I am not able to cash a bonus for Jason. If I could get a check for my correct bonus issued to James, that would be great. I would do that, and then see if there's anything that I would also ask if there's anything he needs to do to make sure that this does not happen in the future. Is there paperwork that has been mislabeled? Do they not know that I am James? I have my company badge here, identification, all that. Do I need to check my paperwork to make sure that this does not happen again, that I can be correctly identified on my paychecks in the future, and see what they say? But yes, I would go today's I would go tomorrow. If they have accounting, whoever would be in charge, the engineer, whomever would be in charge, I would go to them, the white person presumably, I would go to them immediately and just, yes, could I please get a correct named checked or correctly issued check? And then if there's anything I need to do to make sure this doesn't happen in the future, or even what can we do, plural, because if I did something, I can get to it. And then if you all need to correct something, let's get to it so that we don't have to waste time and energy doing this next pay period or ever again, bonuses, anything else. That would be my recommendation. Yeah, because that's just so tacky.
Can I make a correction?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
My apologies. Can I make a correction? No, it's not accounting. So the engineer, the companies, aka white people, ask the engineer to come up with a list. So the engineer, white guy, he writes out a list, writes down everybody's name, what their title is, and then hands it to each company. And it has nothing to do with accounting or anything like that. It's just a white person handing information to a white person, and they, write out a check. It has nothing to do with accounting, just to make that correction. So the engineer put down the wrong name, Jason. The guy's name is James. He put down Jason. Jason, the bathroom cleaner. And what? His name is James. Why would... Yeah. Just want to let that be clear.
Right on. I would presume even in a setup like this that is not accounting, the engineer, that this is a white guy or white person, that they would still have access to the correct name, correct information about, unless the person that gave it to him put it down wrong. Oh, okay. That's what he's a white man. He's supposed to, he's the engineer. Of course, he would have all the correct information. But either way, I would just go to him and let him know here's the check here. Obviously, I can't cash a check for Jason. Here's my correct identification. How long do you think it'll take for me to get a new correctly issued check? And see what he says. And then I would still follow with that. What can we do to make sure that this does not happen in the future, since I am James, and see what he says. But yeah, I would go like tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. If they're open, if he's working, go see if you can go first thing in the morning and bingo, so they can get that resolved. Because lots of people, people that are fortunate enough to work jobs where they get bonuses. There are people oh my goodness, the same way that you have entrepreneurs who, with their whole year, they wait for December so they can get that Christmas money, people shopping and all that, so they can come up. You have people who wait their whole year, get my Christmas bonus, yes, pay off a few bills, pay off these Christmas bills or whatever. But then to get that smack in the face metaphor, but that's Jason. I'm James, and they're going to put Jason on or whatever. Even if they put Leroy on it, come on. And I've heard that too. It took me a while where people had their Christmas bonus or something like that, and either it was delayed, they didn't give the correct amount. If it was supposed to be, say it's supposed to be $2,000, and they put $500 on it. Something retarded like that. And then they would go real slow. Oh man, we messed up. We'll correct it. Yeah. And it'll be Valentine, Black History Month before they done got your Christmas bonus corrected. That old tackiness. And that's why I said I would go tomorrow. I would not dally about it next week or what. I would go tomorrow. If he's working tomorrow and the engineer white dude is there, first thing in the morning, bang, let's get this. That way, if they decide it's going to take a long time, and maybe I'll get a few nickels before we get to 2026.
Thank you very much. I will definitely let him know and let him listen to the episode. Oh, can I share one more thing? You were mentioning something about joking on the job, aka the plantation. So I watched TikTok, and they have this thing called Anything But a Cup Challenge, where workers will drink these odd things. They'll have water in a boot, water in a plastic bag, a spray bottle and stuff like that. And they're doing this on the job. I strongly suggest non-white people, black people, do not participate in that at all. At all. It's very popular on TikTok. It's called Anything But a Cup.
I had not heard of that, but that seems like something that would get me fired as a privileged black male. That's the same thing, like I said, with the joking, and I think that's the context that she mentioned it. You're not paid to do entertainment committee, and I guess maybe they could say that's a part of the social influencer. Maybe if you're a social influencer for the company that you work for, maybe you could do that and post, videos of that. But if that's not in your job description about social media, I would not want to have people recording me doing things that have absolutely nothing to do with your job. Really, even if you were just drinking the water out of a cup, why is that recorded? Drink the water, let's get back to work. We're wasting time, much less we done gotten all this other foolish, if white people are doing this on your job, don't ask me to hold the camera. Don't ask me to check it out. See what? None of that. I'm not, like I said, I totally am about projecting seriousness. Allison Manswell, she was a guest on the program. She wrote a whole book about the workplace, and particularly for black people, how we conduct ourselves in the workplace. And she was a guest on the program, and she talked about being serious, projecting. I am a serious person. Really, I'm manager material. I know policy and procedure. I'm here. I'm on task. I'm not talking about silliness and telling racist jokes and sneaking to watch Netflix on my phone and silliness. Like, I'm about my job, not participating anything but a cup. Are you, what? Come on. Drinking out of a shoe. Come on. Like I said, if I did something like that, I would be fired. And even with something like that, even if they don't see you, like this Thursday, December 11th, okay, let's say nobody walks in, we got she said the spray bottle and all this other old not. Be serious. I cannot say that enough. You're not 11. You're not, a freshman in college. You're on a job. Be serious. We're trying to at least grow into being adults, not qualified, but trying to get there. Let's say nobody, your manager or what have you, doesn't walk in and see all this on December 11th. But I think she said that the whole point of this is to record this and you get to put this on TikTok or wherever. Okay. Nobody sees you today. See, she confirmed. Okay. So they post this online. Then, I don't know, you still working it. Let's say, let's hope you still working there 2 weeks from now. And then your manager, they send it, they email it or whatever, or he goes on TikTok and says, hey, they got Jason, oh man, I'm going to get him. Can we get Jason, send him to the office. And then and they said, hey, and right to work at will states where they can just fire and all that. Are you serious? We got a black person in here drinking water out of a shoe on the clock. And then you in the workplace, they get you for a whole lot because you might have some companies, just the fact that you are recording in the workplace, that might be enough, much less that you're goofing off doing all this old silliness. Come on. Be serious. You classified as black, and like I said, don't ask me to hold the camera. If, they want to do any of this, don't ask me to check it out. I don't want to see it. Like, I'm trying to get my bonus. I'm trying to get my name spelled correctly on my bonus so I can cash my check. Like, man, come on. Jesus. If you have children, I would talk to them about that. That's why I said, like, certainly, as far as all of your coworkers know, even your non-white coworkers, I don't even have social media, so I don't even have the ability to upload this. I don't have TikTok. I wouldn't care if you have 5 TikTok. As far as your coworkers know, you don't have social media, so no, I'm not doing any of these. Are you serious? I get fired. And you could just say that too. I'd rather get fired. And if you read your handbook, that might be a fireable offense for a lot of they got whole policies about, like I said, unless you are on the social media team at your job, they have whole policies about that in some workplaces that you cannot take pictures or recordings, whatever it is, video, whatever, and post that, online. They have whole policies about that. That alone, you about to be fired. Jesus, leave that to all the white people because they don't get fired. They just get transferred. I bet even the white person that was telling the racist jokes just get transferred. He said he worked at some sort of department store where he'll just be transferred wherever. Anywho, let us know. Hopefully, James will get all of his bonus nickels. Let us know how that unfolds, I reckon. And yes, she said the AI was scarily efficient. They have said that is coming. Might be more of that in the future where they have those types of jobs where it's AI. That's why I said the AI doing the interviews for the job. The AI is answering the phone calls and such. AI at the doctor's office. AI dentist receptionist, right? Like, driving the vehicles because they already got the self-driving vehicles that are taking over all the cities. They say Philadelphia, they've got to be in New York City. If they've taken over LA and San Francisco, they got to be in New York City. So, yeah, like, and she said, yep, that's probably a secretary who lost her job. Probably lots of secretaries going to lose their job. That would be something I would talk to your offspring about in great detail, both fears if AI is going to be taking my job and how all of this will impact the type of jobs that are available to you as a young person. Wild times indeed. Much obliged, Helen in New York. We'll look for the update about, because the pay is serious. We've heard that one before, but they got all kinds of, I'm going to chalk that up as like wage theft too, because she said, this isn't my conjecture, she said she thinks that they did this on purpose to this privileged black male. That's wage theft. Like, they don't know if he has, like, you know, children. Let's say James doesn't do horror days, right? Like the rest of it, he codified. He still got rent. I don't know where you live. We got historic floods in Seattle. Gus may float away. At minimum, they got cold. It's December now. It's cold. Heat bills, all the rest of it. I could use a bonus. Not James. Sorry, you giggle and put Jason on. I'm like, what in the world? And I can even with that, they say, oh man, I just got confused in my brain and everything. And you see, it's close. See, James and Jason, really, somebody with bad handwriting. I don't know if it was, they could say it was a handwritten note. Just, they got bad handwriting. See, the S, it looked like a M, and you see, and we're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. Don't you? We're going to get you. We're going to get you. Anyway, let's see. If folks have any tips about getting messed over with regards to your paycheck, bonus, or regular weekly income, or however often you're paid, let us know, because this is one that we've encountered before. I'm always an advocate of go talk to that white person like immediately. Do not that one linger, because sometimes they even linger. Once you bring it to their attention, they will not be, oh man, this is serious. You might, not be able to pay your rent. We got to get this problem fixed ASAP. Like, oh yeah, get my bagel first. Like that sort of laissez-faire attitude about getting you your money that you worked hard for, like wage theft. Let's see, email number 1, the untiljustice@gmail.com. All right, email number 1. Our listener writes in, today's divisional meeting focused on speaking with candor. Oh my God. Sound like we about to get some more racist jokes. What? Let's see what this is going to be about. The output of this year's staff survey. We didn't get a breakdown of the survey results for our division because less than 10 people completed it. There were 13 people in the team at the time the survey was issued, but I'm not sure how many people completed it. It seems not many. I did not. They're going to blame you. The organization is separately running an initiative to encourage people to speak up and challenge leading with candor. There was a discussion about how people can be encouraged to speak up and feel safe to do so, which led into a conversation on the survey results and lack of participation. I was surprised that not many people completed it. This is the first year that I've been in the team that we couldn't get a breakdown of the division's results. Listening to today's discussion, you would think most people are really happy. There were people who didn't say anything, me included. Clearly, some of the people speaking positively were lying. The fact that Phoebe, who wasn't at today's division meeting, asked for the session to be recorded may have something to do with it. People were given the option to say no, but making an objection is in itself drawing unwanted attention to yourself. Plus, the staff survey is allegedly anonymous, so if people didn't complete it, why would anyone want the views openly recorded? Excellent point. It was agreed to do a pulse survey to capture people's feedback in real time, still not filling it out. That's hilarious. I do think that's intelligent because, hey, those so-called anonymous forms, maybe they're anonymous. Anyway, the speaking with they don't pay very many dark people to speak with candor, quote unquote. Like, just say what you feel, Leroy. James, just tell us what's on your mind. Like, you done stole my bonus. I don't think you want to hear what's on James' mind. Come on. Come on. And this is the same young lady who's written in who was saying the white woman accused her of being hostile and, you came for me and were nasty and aggressive. Like, I was speaking with candor. If I were to say, Gus T, that I speak with candor, you are unprofessional and you don't know how to talk to people. That's what they would say. That I would be real cautious with all of the speaking with candor. In fact, that's why I say I do less speaking. Shh. I'm just asking. But in fact, what do you mean speaking with candor? Maybe I don't understand the term correctly. See if they can explain it. But yeah, listen, ask questions and listen. Speak with it. Listen with intent. Anyway, the email untiljustice@gmail.com. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. We have folks, if we have any suggestions, if there's a better way to see if we can help get James his bonus, if we have any tips for that one, because we have talked about that before, the wage theft. Let us know if we have any tips on surviving the holidays in the workplace, if you can avoid those parties, the, white elephant, the gift exchange nonsense, any of it really, the cards, decorations, any of that. Folks have any tips or how you have managed all of that in the workplace, let us know. Certainly if you have any codification that you have figured to avoid problems with white and or non-white people on the job, we always need that. December to January. Feel free, star 61. Let's see. We'll see if other folks, when they get done spectating, reminder, we'll be here tomorrow for the Catherine Massey Book Club, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Tonight, we bombed the U.S. Capitol. Same time, we've read 2 sections. Book is not that long, but lots more that we learned on Assata Shakur. And even the last time white people stormed the Capitol has been, and what I said already today, not all white people are racist. These white people say, hey, we are doing all this bombing in the name of opposing white supremacy. Indeed. But that is tomorrow. And then the compensatory call-in on Saturday. We'll catch up on what has gone down last 7 days. News clips from this week. President Trump and his continued assault against dark people all over the world. Woof. Make it plain. All I can say, make it plain. We'll chat about that on Saturday compensatory call-in. Anywho, for today, wanted to make sure, one, give folks another 5, see if they're gift wrapping or decorating the Christmas tree. No ideas. But there was a report I shared from earlier this week. They were talking about black people, something I had mentioned on Neutralizing Workplace Racism for years. You being a competent black person does not mean you will be compensated, appreciated, even spared a teaspoon of workplace racism. Like, none of the above. If anything, it might mean that you'll be subjected to even more terrorism on the job, just because you are viewed as a threat. You might mess things up for a white person. There was a report written by Dr. Allison Wiltz, black female victim of racism, Why Hard Work Doesn't Pay Off for Black Americans. Now, I'm not suggesting be lazy or don't try to go out and accomplish things or do your best on the job in your career. Not saying that at all. But same thing that I've said for years, I think it is very important to be honest. You just being a competent black person going in and doing your job. James, even just going in, James could be coming to work on time every day, doing his job, not shooting dice in the bathroom. She didn't tell us he was flirting with the white women on staff. None of that. Not outside waiting next to people's cars, bumming quarters. None of that. I come in, I do a good job, clean the lavatory, show up on time, leave when I'm supposed to. Take an appropriate timed lunch break. I'm not gone for 5 hours. Right on, James. Just because you do, he can't even get his bonus. That's what I'm saying. Much less, is he being compensated correctly and all the rest of it. He can't even get his bonus. That's being classified as black in the workplace. System of White Supremacy. I won't read the whole report because I did share it, but just a teaspoon. One myth in American society that garners a lot of attention is that hard work pays off and that success only requires putting your best foot forward. While this idea sounds good in theory, there are problems with this view. Disability advocates would argue that judging someone's worth solely on their ability to labor is inherently discriminatory, and they are right. But there's another point we should consider. Even many able-bodied workers struggle to make ends meet in this country. This is especially true for black people. In fact, researchers at Northwestern University found that black families have just 1 cent for every dollar that white families have. Their study revealed, this is from 2020, super recent, their study revealed a tale of two Americas, one characterized by wealth and racial power, the other marked by poverty and racial disadvantage. The belief that hard work is the only ingredient needed to secure wealth persists. As sociologist Matthew Desmond noted, many people are unaware. Slavery didn't just deny black freedom, but built white fortunes. I don't think white people are unaware of this. We've read some great books written by white people where they know all the details about this. And even, I suspect, many of the white people who didn't read or write these types of books, they know. And in fact, they know enough. If they know they're white, they know enough. I will stop there, but she goes on to make really some of the same points that I've said about just going and being great at your job. That almost doesn't mean anything at all. That might set you up to be fired even faster. I'm not even saying President Obama was good at his job. He didn't even get a chance to show us. Just as soon as he got the job, you heard, we want to see him fail. And in fact, we're going to work to see that he does. Like, That is James on the job. That is us on the job. Any job that we have. System of white supremacy, and especially if it's a good job. Even James is cleaning the toilets. And he's sabotaged. Imagine you got a good job that a white person would want. A white person mad that you got that job type of a thing. Any hoodles, but why hard work doesn't pay off for black Americans. And again, I am not saying it. I don't think the author, Dr. Allison Willits, she has a PhD. I don't think she would have done all of that if she thought this is a waste of time. This is goofy. I'm not saying that. I just think it is very important to be honest, at minimum, honest with yourself. And then as much as we can be honest with other black people that, hey, now, just because I got this here PhD, they throw me out of here tomorrow. Facts. Just because I'm president of the United States, they throw me out of here tomorrow. Facts. And you would already assume that's true if you clean the bathroom. So anywhere in between on that spectrum, it is very important at minimum to be honest with yourself about that at all times. Can't forget that. Can't forget that. Even, like I said, because you don't have to do anything wrong and you can still be fired. That's any of us. That's any of us. Very important to be truthful with ourselves about that. Any hoodles, let's see. But I shared that on social media. You can check that out. I do not use social media for goofiness. That's why I said I didn't know anything about the anything but a cup and all this old nonsense. I didn't know anything about that. Be constructive if you can be using these devices, not for and certainly not for acting crazy on the job. I wouldn't even want to share my social media. I've talked about this one for years. I wouldn't even want any to participate in something like that because I would have to share my social media with other coworkers, even if they're non-white. That is a massive no-no. Like I said, as far as they are concerned, I don't have social media. Like, oh no, y'all are not looking through my accounts. Go see if you can find something or all of this. And I don't want it. These are race soldiers. They might decide they're going to snoop on me for life. No. I'm good. And like, as far as you all know, I gave all that up, man. Elon was acting wild and he took over the Twitter and now it's X. And I washed my hands. And I don't think too many people would question. You probably have some other folks talk, oh yeah, that's right. Zuckerberg got on my nerves and got my privacy questions and, and then we get back to work. Let's see. Oh no, speaking of black male privilege, the one and only lock up your weed whackers. Get it secure. Might swipe it before you can think twice. In fact, we had a listener said I didn't even listen to Neutralizing Workplace Racism, but my mother, she heard old Tumbling Dice, privileged black male. He said he was on there and the child told him, he said, you get your black ass up there and you drive the bus. He said, oh my Lord, you need to listen to Neutralizing Workplace Racism. I said, man, they tell you, get your black ass up there when you drive. That's how they talk to you. I'm sorry, that's not. But that did happen, though, too. And in fact, when I heard this, I said, dang, Tumbling Dice said, this happened again. He called in more recently and said that the young fella got on the bus and had the same, was cursing and potty mouth and you don't count nigger. And the mom lied about it. Said, oh, my goodness, I don't know where he got it from you. The peach don't fall far from the tree. Where did he get it from? Tumbling Dice, privileged black male. Hide your weed whackers. Hide your weed whackers. Tumbling dice.
Yes, good evening, Gus. I want to share something with you, and I'd like your opinion on something, because something on my bus happened today that was just, it was a safety issue. And what it was is I'm driving, and this kid is always, him and his sister, I always have to tell them, stay in your seat, stay in. The little sister keep running around the aisle while the bus is moving, sometimes at like 45 or 50, that type of thing. But today, her brother decides to make a paper. It's something these kids use nowadays in school, where they make a paper and they hit the paper, and the paper sounds like a loud explosion. So when the kid did that, while I was driving and I was looking left, right to clear traffic, he did this thing with the paper, and it caused like a big bang. So I thought I got in a wreck. I thought something hit me. I was startled. I was kind of shaking up a little bit, because I thought I either hit somebody or a vehicle hit me. So I told the kid, I said, hey, I need you to come up front, sit in the front seat so I can monitor you, because now you almost got me in an accident. So he didn't want to come up to the front. So he's exhibiting defiance. So I decided to take him back to school, and I called the secretary, and I dropped him off and his sister at school. So when I got back, to the office, my supervisor told me, well, you should have take him home, drop him off to his parents, and then write him up for that. But I told her, I said, look, this is a safety issue. This scared me. I could have get in an accident. I could have killed somebody, you know what I'm saying? And why should I carry this liability with me until, maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 stops until I could drop him home? So she said, well, that's the way it is, and now they want to see evidence on the bus tape. So I said, well, you could run the bus tape and you could see. I said, but the thing is, I think that's a liability issue, because we shall not carry a kid that has exhibited a propensity for causing problems on the bus, be it to distract me, which scared me, or to even cause harm to another kid, So I just wanted to run that by you to see what your opinion is, or maybe some of the listeners could tell me what they will do if they were in my situation, So that's what's going on. They're trying to override my safety, to try to, to minimize the conduct of these kids. I don't think that's right, So thanks for letting me share this. I really appreciate it.
Privileged black male. It seems they do that often in terms of disregarding his safety concerns. I think it's been times where it's been specific issues with the bus where he's pointed out and saying, hey, I think this might be a safety issue. Like, drive the bus. And just, consistently downplay safety concerns. I think the loud noise, I think that totally, exactly as you said, that safety, did we hit something? Did we get hit? Did a tire blow out? Much less, like, is that constructive for the other children? Much less safe if it's loud enough that you, as the driver, I thought, did we get struck by another vehicle, or, something happened? What are the other children thinking who are sitting around all this? Did they see this he's just doing a thing with the paper again? Did some of them not see this and they thinking the same thing? Is it an accident? What's going on now? Like, what in the world? Come on. At minimum, there should be some disciplinary action. Like, hey, come on. You are creating an unsafe environment for the driver, the other children on the bus. This is not going to be tolerated. Sit down, behave yourself on the bus, act like you have, some sense. Like, man, I'm sure this is not little Leroy, where it's, well, no, we can't. The I guess procedure should be to just take him home and write him up, or I don't know, talk to his parents after the fact. Allow him to presumably continue with this behavior if he wants to continue making noises or whatever else en route to getting to his residence. I don't know. I think I have heard and or seen that policy. If you get on the bus after school or being disruptive, particularly if it's a safety issue, you're being disruptive and the driver can't operate the coach to get the other children home, say like, oh, they might turn that sucker around and take you get on to the principal's office or whatever else and have your parents come and get you as best they can. Like, I think that is totally, I have heard that as a policy before. I suspect that this is probably a white child with powerful white parents. Like, oh no, you can't, mess over little Tad, and he just has little energy outbursts. That's all that is. You bring him home. We can't mess up transportation. I would document, this is what I think should be done. This is what, and he said that they had evidence. Everything we got to go back and check the footage like 15 times when he gets accused of something from these old white people, or the children have done something. Like, man, like we'd have to double check the camera every day. Like, make sure the bus that I'm on, the camera has got to be working. Cannot be on one of these where we don't have no video footage or the camera malfunction. Like, oh no, we got to have perfectly working video if I'm going to be driving the bus. That's another one, in my view. White power, they got to go look at the footage. They can't even just take your word, about what happened. They got the other children on the bus, so presumably they could just go and ask them and corroborate, did this happen? Well, you can't. You did steal our weed whackers. Forget that. We got to go check the video, see if this happened. Video, that's one form of documentation, but I would write down, just keep notes, like journal of exactly what took place and exactly what your recommendation was in terms of how this situation should be handled. I suspect he will probably continue. Oh man, I can make my loud noise and I don't get in any trouble. I frightened the hell out of the nigger, like he thought, he was getting shot at, like, and probably got some of the little tykes around me too, and I don't get in trouble. Nobody. I'm gonna do this 15 more times before we get to June, end of the school year. Document. I would relentlessly document, and even that I think that, and I would document to make sure that I'm emphasizing that this is a safety concern, because he's doing all this while I'm trying to operate the bus. Like, I don't know if we've hit something, if somebody hit us, are we in danger? A child could be hurt. Like, why is this being allowed to continue? He's disobeying orders at minimum, where it's been, hey man, sit down, calm yourself. He's doing all this to deliberately be disruptive. Come on. And it's jeopardizing the safety of the other children and the operator. Even the bus, if they, say nigga bus driver isn't worth anything, you jeopardize the safety of the coach too. I thought we were in an accident. Could be. What if you had slammed on, the brake, if you all had been in motion when all that happened? Like, come on. That's my suggestion. If we have I know Victim in New Jersey, he drives the trucks and such. We have other people who, do drive in, or even if you don't, if you have suggestions for how you would proceed. But that's one for sure. I would keep that in the context of safety. This is a massive safety concern because there's so many other lives and children involved on the bus. It is a massive safety concern, and it's a violation of policy and procedure, because I know they have rules for how those children are supposed to conduct themselves on the bus. They're supposed to be seated. You already said you told them to sit down. He wasn't doing that. And then sometimes they'll have a kind of general rubric of disruptive. You're not supposed to be disruptive on the bus. That could be, being loud, fighting, lots of things. This would for sure be disruptive. So he's not following the rules, and it's causing a safety problem, safety hazard. So, yeah, I would document keep your own records, and then see what they say, I guess, after they view the footage to confirm that all this happened. And I would a plan going forward. Like, is that supposed to be the plan? If he continues with this behavior or other disruptions, just ignore, or I guess document, and then proceed, take him home in spite of all of these safety issues. Just take him home and then document it the next day. They'll deal with it, or not the next day. Like, does that even seem realistic? These are questions I'd be asking them. Like, is that realistic? Is that safe? Is that the best procedure for the safety of the other children? I'd use safety as much as possible. I'd see if I could get that in every question. You're going to have to tell me how this makes it safer. How is this the best and the safest option to get all these children from A to B, to school, to their house? They'd have to break it down for me. And again, this is one. If this was little Leroy and he was doing all this, he was throwing caps on the floor in the back and sounded like somebody was shooting at the bus or something, I know it would not be take little Leroy home, document, and we'll deal with it. Like, are you serious? Get out of here. Let's see. We'll see if other folks, if they have any thoughts on what they think would be a better way of handling all this, or how to get all this stopped. Let's see. I'll give out the number again, 720-716-7300, the code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. We have folks suggestions for tumbling dice, how you would deal with this disruptive race soldier child making noise on the bus, deliberately being disruptive with this noise on the bus. Let us know, especially he's reported to the white people in charge and seeming like, not going to do anything about this, or just take him to his white mother. If folks have any tips that can help us maintain safety and get this behavior stopped at minimum, please share. Then if we have any other thoughts, star 61 will nab you as well. Let's see. Folks are spectating. We'll give them a moment. Folks will have to give me the update. I always say that, like, give us updates to let us know, to make sure the suggestions being offered are logical. Don't want to be telling folks things that are absolute nonsense, not going to be helpful, or cause more problems. That is not the goal. So definitely let us know if, what is being shared ends up being helpful. Nay, if you end up rejecting what you hear and come up with your own counter-racist logic to solve problems in the workplace, A+, you can let us know that as well. And then we would still get some, extra tips, strategies that we can apply in the workplace. If you come up with something on your own, let us know what you thought of if you have time. We'll give folks another few minutes or so, see if they have suggestions, their own situation, any tips on any of the situations that we've talked about thus far, including racist jokes. Once again, we'll see if folks have any additional thoughts. Let's see. I know while checking to see if we get our last comments in for today, we are having historic flooding and raining. I mean, it's raining in Washington State, but this is like calling it the atmospheric river, where it's just been dumping and dumping and dumping, and they've evacuated certain portions of Washington State. They're talking about, certain populations got to be on alert in Pierce County and King County, where Seattle is. Whew, man, I had wrote earlier today, I said, man, if we're not able to do neutralizing workplace racism today, it's because Gus T floated away in the floodwaters out here in Washington State. But man, it is a little bit wild. Just seeing some of the massive pools of water in some of the regions, and whew, man, if you have 5 seconds, it's not too much bother. Pray for Gus T, the other victims of white supremacy in Washington State. They were showing the visuals of some places where they were talking about mudslides and just, man, devastation from all of the water, just relentless raining and raining and raining. It's been on TV. They had like emergencies about this, and man, the governor was on TV like, man, it's been wild. But hopefully we will not at least have to evacuate in these parts, can stay dry. But man, it has been wild out in the 206 and beyond. I was going to say 206, but and beyond, Pierce County, King County, it has been wild the past few days or so, and more to come, unfortunately. That's it. Let's see. Other folks, if they have any comments. Folks are spectating or doing their holiday, getting the mistletoe hung, the tree decorated. Like I said, let us know. We'll get commentary, hopefully, at minimum the next week or so, if folks have any tips for managing all of the madness on the job. As I said, if you can successfully avoid the office holiday party without any punishment or participating, the gift exchanges, for reals, I wouldn't even want to do the card. I'm not participating. Non-participation. Let's be serious. We don't need to do all these holidays in the workplace. That's another one that's time and energy. I'm not interested. We got to put all this stuff up, and then we got to take all this stuff down. Once January 1 comes in, are we going to decorate again for Valentine's Day? Like, come on, man. Like, this is not our residence. We could be fired, and then I wouldn't even get to see the decorations that I put all that hard time and energy to get on the tree. So, nah, no way you shake it up and pour it. Like, nah. Let us know if folks got tips on avoiding all of that madness and doing so unscathed. Were you just able to use a few words and that was the end of it? Please share. And then the AI as well. Like, man, have we got any folks? Has that changed? Has anybody, you done the interview where it was with AI, as in the AI was doing the questions and vetting and all of that? Let us know. It is evolving at such a rapid pace. Wow. We should all be paying attention, learning, and seeing how all this will impact our respective careers, fields, and such, because it's just, man, it's wacky times on many fronts. Anyway, at minimum, we'll be here Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The Catherine Massey Book Club. Tonight we bomb the U.S. Capitol. And then Saturday, compensatory call-in, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll catch up on news happenings from the past 7 days or so. So we close in on the end of 2025. Lame year on the plantation. I guess all the years where we have not successfully replaced white supremacy with justice, I guess all those years are kind of lame. 2025, no exception. That's it. Do we miss anybody? Anybody commentary they want to get in? Assume folks are good. Didn't see any other hands. I'll assume folks are good and doing their holiday cheer. Have sip of eggnog for Gus T. No rum. Such sobriety would be best, especially during the holiday season. You do not want to be out on the road. I'd said the sobriety checkpoints will probably start creeping up, I would think, give it a week or so, maybe 10 days, and they'll start popping up, especially if you have younger non-white drivers. I would tell them you do not want to be out once it's dark. I'd say after 9 o'clock. You do not want to be out driving late under the influence. Really, You don't want to be out driving late at all if you can help it. Trying to do whatever you're going to do, get somewhere and stay there. You don't want to be going to be bar hopping and all that. Nah, particularly not this time of year. You really want to talk about getting a lump of coal in your stocking? Getting a DUI for Christmas. Ick. And those are expensive. Oof. Sobriety would be best. That's it, Creator. We ask that you remind us. Stop saying, not all white people are racist. Remind us. Stop name-calling people classified as black. Remind us. Do not waste non-white people's time and energy. Lord knows white people do enough of that. Remind us. Maximize our time and energy to replace white supremacy with justice. It has been time. Cal signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. No problem. You're a victim. Yeah. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.